The 2024 elections were by far the most contested elections since the dawn of democracy. The IEC issued candidate certificates to nearly 14,900 candidates who contested a total of 887 seats. 70 political parties and 11 independent candidates were published as final contestants by the IEC, with 31 of these contesting national elections for the first time. In total, 15 political parties contested in all tiers of the polls for seats in the National Assembly, the National Council of Provinces and provincial legislatures.
From the point of view of a citizen of a country, it's a good thing, it's good for democracy that they've got different options. They can be able to choose whoever would be able to cater for their interest. And the emergence of political parties obviously is there to fill a gap within the society that is not filled by major political parties. But if you are managing the elections from the administration point of view, it is obviously going to be very difficult because the more political parties you have, the more logistical difficulties it creates.
Challenges there were indeed. This election would for the first time see a third ballot paper being used in the metro areas, in addition to the traditional two. The change was necessitated by the Electoral Amendment Act, which saw the introduction of independence into the national and provincial election space. Other challenges emanated from the participation of the new kid on the block, the Umkhonto weSizwe Party. It held the IEC before the Electoral Court for barring former President Jacob Zuma from running as a candidate after a number of members of the public challenged his eligibility. This is due to his 15-month jail sentence for contempt of court in 2022. After the court overturned the decision, the Commission then approached the Constitutional Court to seek clarity for posterity on the matter.
The appeal is about securing clarity so that all role players can understand what that constitutional provision is, how it ought to be interpreted, and that for the future, everybody then knows with certainty and legal clarity as to what that provision provides for and does not provide for. The reality is that the Constitutional Court is the apex court, is the highest court of the land. And it's important that clarity is sought from that highest court in the land.
The legal run-ins with the IEC and the ANC over the MK name and logo afforded the MK party a perfect campaigning opportunity, with the party mobilizing outside the various sitting courts in the full glare of the media. The IEC also had to contend with several political parties that wanted an extension to the submission of candidate lists deadline, blaming difficulties with the IEC's online portal for their tardiness. With expatriates and special voting having gone without a glitch, the polls opened up on the 29th of May. As the day progressed, long queues started to form in some of Johannesburg's major townships. This is attributed to the malfunctioning of some voter management devices, exacerbated by Section 24A of the Electoral Matters Amendment Act, which was a new regulation barring voters from voting anywhere other than where they were registered. This in an attempt to prevent the double voting alleged to have taken place in the 2019 elections. It was these difficulties that were cited by several parties in their objections to the IEC, with some like the MK party leading the charge, calling for a recount in some areas for the final results to be delayed. 2 days later, the IEC's leaderboard experienced challenges, resulting in it being offline. However, the Commission reassured South Africans that the counting process had not been compromised.
With the presence of Section 190, 1C, I think it is, of the Constitution, that provision requires, or in fact provides, that we must declare the outcome of an election as soon as possible after elections. And we have to abide by that provision, amongst others. That's why it was important that we make it plain in advance that this would be the plan.
The MK party threatened legal action, saying it had evidence disputing the official results.
To need the time. Nobody must declare tomorrow. No. If that happens, people will be provoking us because we know what we are talking about. We are not guessing. We know. And why should they rush to count? And I'm hoping whoever is responsible is hearing what we are saying. Don't start trouble when there is no trouble. Give the political parties, which I think they are a majority, the chance to present their cases, their information, their everything. Don't rush us. Part of the reason we've come to a point that there should be a bigger way of dealing with the matter. These who have been in charge can't investigate themselves. That's why we say there must be an open, clear, investigation done by the, what did you say? Commission of Inquiry.
However, the IEC, citing observer accounts and the election satisfaction survey conducted by the Human Sciences Research Council, told a different story. Despite being spoiled for choice, the voter turnout was just over 58% of eligible voters from 66% in 2019, the lowest in South Africa's democratic era.
People are overwhelmed. These options that have been offered to them are usually options that curate a message that is quite similar across all the different political parties, and people tend to just think, well, they all kind of sound the same, and it's just overwhelming to decide on what to choose one, and people retract and they just decide, well, I'm just not going to vote to begin with. It's too overwhelming.
The result was historic. The ANC dropped below 50%, opening the door to discussions about a new look for the 7th administration of the country. President Cyril Ramaphosa described it aptly.
What this election has made plain is that the people of South Africa expect their leaders to work together to meet their needs. They expect the parties for which they have voted to find common ground, to overcome their differences, to act and work together for the good of everyone. Our people have spoken. Whether we like it or not, they have spoken. Warata lao sarati.
The 2024 elections will be remembered for being groundbreaking in many ways, from new rules of the game, a packed field of runners, and a prize giving which greatly shared the spoils. Natasha Piri, SABC News, Johannesburg.